not starting without anybody here. That would not be good. All right. Perfect. So hello, everyone. My name is Becca. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Dubsado, and I am really happy to be in here with you all. Doing a webinar, going back to my roots. I used to do webinars all the time in Dubsado, and I am happy to be filling in for Cameron today, who is not available to be with us. And I am excited to just show you how to build and use questionnaires within Dubsado. Last week, we did a webinar on lead capture forms. So if you happen to miss that webinar, I'm going to link you to it here. Give me 1 second while I pull that up. I know, Chris, it's been like, what, 20 minutes since I last saw you, maybe 15? Chris was in our last webinar that we did. So all of our webinars in the future and in the past are posted right here for our forms workshop series that we're doing in April. Biz and I just got off a webinar for our form makeover hot seat. So that button still says register because we don't have the recording for that yet. So you can view all of our past webinars that we've done and our future ones here. So we just did last week a webinar on how to use lead capture forms in Dubsado. And today we're going to be talking all about questionnaires, 2 totally different forms with 2 totally different uses. So I'm going to go ahead and get in here and start sharing my screen. Now, as I'm doing this, just so I can talk while I'm working, every single form that I'm going to show you in today's webinar is from our collaboration with the Creative Template Shop, who is helping sponsor this webinar for, is just helping sponsor this webinar with our forms month, because what they do is provide one-click template forms for our Dubsado users. So it is a really exciting thing to be partnering with them. And so all the examples I'll be showing today is their templates, but you can totally create templates yourself, and I'll show you our free template library as well. All right, so today's webinar, our goal for this entire webinar is to explore the different ways and concepts that a questionnaire can be used for. And of course, I'll be showing you how to build that out and some specific things that you can use in questionnaires, and also how to apply a questionnaire to a project and send off to your client. But at the very, very beginning of the webinar, we're just going to discuss the questionnaire basics and just get into the nitty-gritty details before we go and apply these things to a project and see how that looks to your client. So if you are looking for that end goal and how to send questionnaires, wait till the end and I will show you exactly how to do that. All right, so last week I told you I did a webinar on lead capture forms, and the difference between a lead capture form and a questionnaire is quite large. So just broad off the bat, a lead capture form, every time someone fills out a lead capture form, it creates a project. However, questionnaires are not like that. A questionnaire is more for one-on-one client communication. So a questionnaire is used after a project has already been created in Dubsado for them, and you want to send them a form that they fill out. Now, this form is sent through a project. Lead capture forms cannot be sent in a project. So this is what I'm going through our little handout that we have here. Like I said, a lead capture form creates a project every time it is filled out by a client, but questionnaires, they cannot create projects when it's filled out by a client. Lead capture forms is used for capturing information to get them started, and a questionnaire is used to gather additional information that's maybe post-inquiry or information needed to be worked on that project together. Lead capture forms, once submitted, your client cannot edit them. But on a questionnaire, once a client submits your questionnaire, it can be edited, and they can save drafts of questionnaires. It can be like a working document as they're filling this out. Lead capture forms can start workflows, and questionnaires cannot. Lead capture forms can be shared publicly to anyone in the entire world, but questionnaires are for more one-on-one communication. So those are a few of the really big differences of lead capture forms to questionnaires. If you have questions on how lead capture forms work, you're going to want to check out the last webinar that we did. And I included the link to that above. It's the education.dubsado.com/April Forms Month thing, and you're going to check out our lead capture form webinar there. Because today we are covering everything that a questionnaire is good for. Yes, Chris just linked the where you can watch the replay for it. So questionnaires. Questionnaires are great for pricing guides. So maybe you're not ready to use a proposal and not wanting them to pick a package. They're great for welcome packets. They're great for intake forms to gather more information, maybe surveys that you need to send to your clients. If you're a photographer, you can do wedding timelines. Here's one of my favorites. You can use it as an internal note taker. So if you just want to have an internal form that you don't want your clients to see, I'm going to show you how you can use a questionnaire for that. Another really neat use is a designer information mood board. So you can have it to showcase mood boards, which I've seen a lot happen. So I hope what this shows here is that questionnaires can be used for a variety of things and not just gathering questions. So I'm going to go into the Forms tab into Dubsado so we can get into it. This is our Forms tab. So I clicked Templates and Forms. And as you can see, we have 5 different form types in Dubsado, where all of these are going to be covered throughout the entire Forms month. Like I said, we did a lead capture one. Now we skipped over proposals. We're going to do those at a later date. And we're doing questionnaires. So questionnaires, this is where you create your templates. Creating your template here for questionnaires means you can use this template again and again and again on different projects. So you're creating the base form here, and then it can be used on as many projects as you want to send from client to client. So I'm going to go in and show you a few of the things that questionnaires could do. So again, questionnaires are for one-on-one client communication and not sent out to the entire world to gather information. Questionnaires are meant for one-on-one client interaction. So I'm going to go in and I am going to build a questionnaire and show you a few of the special things that questionnaires have that other forms might not have. All right. So for one, questionnaires have the ability to add a code block element to it. So say let me go into, actually, I'm just going to go into a form that I already have. I'm going to go into a webinar welcome packet. So I have a welcome packet. I'm in the wrong brand, guys. Give me a second. I just got off another webinar and I am sharing the wrong brand. Okay, give me a sec while I adjust this. You guys can just laugh at me all you want for this little mistake. All right, let me get into my brand and then you'll be able to see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Now I'm good. Okay, so here is my questionnaire that I used as a welcome packet. Now, the beauty of questionnaires, and I'm going to get into as I'm going through each of these forms and cool tips and tricks that you can do, I'm going to give you some information that you're going to want to use elsewhere. Questionnaires, when they do not ask questions, they do not have a submit button. But what? It's a questionnaire. Yes, you can use questionnaires for a variety of different things, but when questionnaires do not have a question on them, they do not have a submit button. So if you just want to have an informational form that you send a client, that is what a questionnaire is really, really good for. So for example, this is my questionnaire I have as a welcome packet. So I have a nice graphic that I created in the Creative Template Shop and just like nice little pattern there, nice and bold with a thing. Again, how I created this was a graphic that I downloaded from the Creative Template Shop, the collaboration who's sponsoring this webinar. And I just saved it from Canva and I clicked and dragged an image into my form and I uploaded this image, just this image right here, as an image element into my Dubsado form. So it brightened up my Dubsado form, made it look nice, leads them into a nice video. And this is a really neat perk of a Dubsado questionnaire. You can embed videos on your forms. Now, you should totally be using this if you are wanting to showcase deep processes with your client, or if this welcome packet is in about you and you want to show your face and how processes work with your client. Embedding videos can be a really powerful thing to showcase a little bit more of your processes and add a little bit of a personal touch. And how I did that was by using a code block element, and I clicked and dragged that onto my form. And as you can see here, this is the code block that I copy and pasted from Vimeo of a video that I have. So it just can further explain things. And then I have text boxes and everything. But this is an example of questionnaire that I do not have any questions on, and how it looks like to a client. I'll show you right here. So right now I'm in a project. Questionnaires can be added to a project and worked with one-on-one communication through your project. Questionnaires cannot be sent to the world. So if I apply a questionnaire to a project and I copy and paste the link, I can't send that link to anybody in the world. I can't send it to someone, to my mom who's not in this project. My mom's not Sally Examples. So I can't send it to her and have her fill it out, because if she does, it fills it out on Sally Examples project. The questionnaires are meant for one-on-one client communication. So if I want to send a questionnaire to my client, all I do is go into Forms, and let's say I want to apply this form to my project. I click Add, and then I can send it to my client like that. I can also, if I just exit out of there, I can copy the link and I could send it to my client. Let's say they were talking to me via Facebook, private message, or Instagram DM. I can copy the link and I could send the questionnaire that way. And as soon as they fill it out, it's going to be right here in this project. Different to lead capture forms, when they fill out a lead capture form link, it creates a new project. But questionnaires, it all stays nicely bound into this little bubble that I have created for them, and it doesn't go outside of that. So questionnaires are really great for keeping information all in one place. So again, back to my questionnaire with no questions on it. Let me show you how that looks to the client. So here I am viewing a questionnaire as the client, and you will see there's no submit button. So it's just a really great way that you can use a questionnaire without it, just as an informational form only. So that's one of the options that we had on our worksheet right here as a welcome packet. So informational only. Again, that's the same thing with a pricing guide. If you want to use questionnaires and you don't want to lock down a price, or you don't want to have them pick out a package, you can use it as a pricing guide. Just upload your prices or photos of your prices, or write out your prices in a questionnaire, and you can send it off to your client and just have it be a read-only document. They don't have to make any choices if they don't want to. All right, let's explore a few other options that questionnaires can do. We have a client onboarding form. So this is a great example of us asking questions from our client. So I have my questionnaire. Again, I'm in the templates area, so I'm creating the template that I can use on many projects. You can apply this one template, and you can apply it to as many clients as you want in your projects. This template can be used again and again and again. But as soon as it gets to a project, it creates a new form specific for that client. So I have lots of questions added on. So questionnaires can have drop-down boxes. They can have short answer forms, yes, no questions. As you can see, this form really has all of that. Now, the beauty with Dubsado's forms is you can add images to really make your forms look great. So as you can see with this form, the reason why it looks as great as it does is just because I used images. And I put images in columns, and I created, see these lines right here? Those are literally just images of lines. So it's a way to make your questionnaires. They don't have to be dull and boring, and they don't have to just be question after question after question. Take your client through a journey. Take your client through something that feels like an extension of your website. This is your brand. This is your client communication. So you want your forms to look exactly like your website. And that's the beauty of Dubsado. You can create graphics that can really bring in that experience into your client experience workflow into Dubsado. Yes, this is an example of a form in Dubsado that we downloaded from our sponsor's website. But you can, even if you are a designer and you can create beautiful forms like this, it is really dang easy. But if you're not a designer, this is great. This is a great way to do it. So yes, so these are literally just images, and your questionnaire can ask questions. So this is a good example of a client onboarding form. So if you're wanting to gather more information from your client, you can. Now with questionnaires, let's go back to the project. So I'm in my client project. So let me show you how we do this. So let's go to project. And I'm going to go into a project that I have set up, because this is where we're going to send questionnaires. And then I'm going to go to forms. So I can add all the questionnaires I want. There is an unlimited amount of questionnaires that you can add to a single project, but these questionnaires are all for this one client. If I want to go apply a questionnaire to another client, I just go into that project and send it off to that client. So let me just show you how that one. So this is the client onboarding form. I already added it into my project. Let me go ahead and send that off to my client via email. I can click send. Or a neat thing with questionnaires is the ability to add them into the client portals. And I'll get into that in just a second after I go through a few of the other form examples. But let's just see how this looks to the client real fast. So again, I sent it to my client. This is what they open up and see. Now with questionnaires, your clients don't need to log into a client portal. They don't need to have it password protected. You can literally send them this link via email and they can just open it right up. If you want to have additional password protection on your forms, you can set it up that way. You can put it behind a client portal if you want that. But if you want the barrier of entry to be basically none, you can just have that send a link and they can fill out this form very easily just to gather more information. So as I'm going through explaining more of these forms and what they do, what are some ways, you can just add in the chat, what are some ways that you use questionnaires? And I know that others will find great value from it as well. Oh, great question is, how do you find the photo dimensions? So for these photos and for any form that you use in Dubsado, if you upload a full width photo, it's best to use 1500 pixels wide, and that will expand the entire width of the allowed width of the Dubsado form. So 1500 pixels wide is great. Now, if you, like these little images that I have, they can be any size that you want. If you're putting these, so this is in a container, which is a column container. So it has two sides to it versus just one column where it's just straight across. It will resize to fit into that column. So it doesn't really matter what size that these little ones are. The most important size that you're going to want to remember is this full width, which is 1500 pixels wide. I don't know why I keep saying megapixels all day. I had a webinar before this and I said 1500 megapixels. Why? I don't know. I know what I'm doing. I don't know why I keep messing up on that. So again, with these lines, these are 1500 pixels wide. Perfect. Yeah. So using questionnaires as an intake form before a discovery call. So yeah, if you're wanting to get more information out of your clients, a questionnaire is a great way to use that. Chris says questionnaires to collect client testimonials. Chris, very great segue into my next form. Let me go show you my next form. So yeah, a questionnaire is also a really great place to offboard your client. So we just talked about onboarding your client. And let's say you want to send them at the very end of your project, a way to get them offboarded. Let's say you want to get a testimonial on your Google or your Facebook or whatever. You can have a questionnaire for offboarding. Again, here's a video. I just wanted to show you that you can embed video, but you can ask questions to get a great testimonial from your clients. As Dubsado, when we collect testimonials for our people, I know we just redid our entire website and we have a whole testimonial page for that. How we gathered all those testimonials was through a Dubsado form. It wasn't a questionnaire. It was a lead capture form because we wanted a new project created, but we used a form to collect testimonials. So that's just a great way to do that. And an important step that you don't want to miss in your process. All right, another creative use for a Dubsado questionnaire. Any photographers in this webinar? Let me know, because this is for you. Photographers or anyone else who works on an event basis and needs a timeline from clients, a wedding timeline or whatever timeline, this is a great use. Questionnaires are a great use of creating a timeline. So if I was a client, I would go into this form. So let me just go into it as a client real fast here. All right. I am opening up and viewing it as a client so you can see that. All right, so I am a client and I need to fill out your wedding questionnaire. So 9 a.m. is when you arrive. So as a client, I just go through and fill out your wedding timeline. These are getting started photos, or getting ready. So your client will go through and fill this out and complete the timeline. So Another great way to use a questionnaire, and this is literally just using a questionnaire sent through the project. And it all keeps housed in that project so you can go back and refer to it. Again, let me show you real fast. Let's say I'm a client filling out this questionnaire. If I'm not ready to complete it all at one time and I just can't complete it all at one time, the beauty of a questionnaire and only questionnaires is you can save them as a draft. So as a client, if I'm filling this out and I don't have time to go through my entire wedding timeline right now, I was only able to get 2 in there, I can just click save as draft. And let's see, I'm going to show you, I'm going to refresh my page. And when I come back to it, it's going to be there. So as your client, if I come back and fill this out, all my information is going to be there. So really, really nice to be able to do that. And that is only for questionnaires. So if you want your client to be able to save drafts, use a questionnaire. All right, another creative use for a questionnaire, and this is probably one of my favorites. Let me go back to the window. Lots of tabs open here, guys. Another really great use. So do we have any coaches in here? Any coaches? A lot of times, often with coaching calls, you get off the phone call with a client and you do want to take some internal notes. Maybe you have your notepad that you're taking notes with, but you want to keep it all in Dubsado. Yes, Dubsado has a notes tab over here, but it's not necessarily beautifully formatted and has lots of nice things that you can do to it. So if you want to take nice notes and maybe have questions that you answer yourself, you can use a questionnaire for that. Now, when you add a questionnaire to a Dubsado project, if it has this needs sending tag on it, that means it is not in the client portal and your client does not have it yet. So basically, if it has this needs sending tag on it, your client cannot see this form. So this is, as long as you don't send this internal use form to your client, they won't see it. So you can use it as your internal note taking. So let's go ahead and view this and exactly what it looks like. So if I were filling it out as a coach for my internal forms, I would just click open and I would fill it out. So I got off the phone with my client, Sally, examples. How did I feel that the client did in this session? I would go ahead and type it, any positive changes that I saw them make, blah, blah, blah. I just go down and answer the questions that I set up so that I can make sure I have a uniform way of tracking after every time I get off client calls. And I go ahead and I can click send, which basically saves the form. Now in my Dubsado project, as long as this form is not click sent on here on the internal view, it will not be seen by your client. So you can rest assured that these notes are just for yourself. So it's just a nice, beautiful way to keep your keep your notes nicely laid out. Sorry, I just made my screen really large, I think. One sec while I fix that. I got a new mouse and I'm just a little click happy over here. What the heck? All right, so that should also, because I saw a question about the screen being a little bit too small. So hopefully that helps as well. So Ian asked, are there benefits to using a questionnaire for notes rather than just the notes section of the project? There's no benefit to using either or. I just personally prefer if you want to ask like thought-provoking questions to yourself or have a template that you follow for every single client, that's best to use a questionnaire. Now on the notes tab, let's see, add note, it's just a box. As you can see, there's no questions that I'm answering for my client, like from, what happened on the call. But on this one, you can see what's happening on the call and I can answer these questions. So if you want a little bit more of a prompt for yourself, you can use a questionnaire. But either or, it just depends. Let me see if I can zoom in here. I have my screen zoomed in a little bit more, so hopefully that helps. All right, can you repeat how you would set up internal notes? You would just apply it to a project, and as long as you don't send it, they won't see it. Yes, that is totally correct. So let me show you how I do that from the start. So I created my questionnaire in templates forms. I created it there, but I can apply it to a project and use it for internal use only just by adding it here. So where is my internal use form? There it is right there. So I go ahead and I add it to the project. but I'm not going to send it. So I clicked X, and then I can just view this form. I can open it, fill it out, but as long as I don't press this send button within Dubsado, I am golden. All right, perfect. So let me go through to a few more things that questionnaires can do. Yes. Okay, this is a great question before I continue on. Be able to, I'm not sure if this is what someone was asking, but it got me on a good note here. I'm going to show you, let's say you have notes that you maybe hand wrote and that you have taken down. You can additionally, by adding a file uploader element into Dubsado, so let me save and close that. I can upload files into Dubsado. So either if you open it as a client or as a client, if you want them to do files or upload files to your forms, you can definitely have them do that. So I can click here to choose files, and it would prompt my file uploader thing to pop up. It's not showing on the screen because I don't have my whole screen shared, but you can click and drag files here. So that's another way. If you maybe have handwritten notes, or if your client needs to upload a whole bunch of things to send to you on a different form, they can do that. All right. Perfect. Yes, I think that's the fake Christine. That is a very good, or is that the real Christine? Yeah, think of notes as sticky notes about the client and job, and internal questionnaires as more of a template for yourself. That's a great one. Perfect. All right. Next few things about the forms. Let me just go through a few. Okay, so we did the testimonial request. Another one is at the end of the year, if you want to collect surveys. So this is a little bit different than a testimonial, just a way of how clients heard about you, maybe why they chose you, stuff like that. You can have a survey go out at the end of the year. So that's just another creative use of a questionnaire. But questionnaires can definitely be very versatile forms. So let's say I created all of my questionnaires. So I'm going to show you how to send them, how to apply them to a project, how we get this going, and if we want to send it to my client. So you create all your questionnaires and all your forms here in template forms. This is where you create the templates. Now, if I want to go ahead and send a form to my client, I can do so by going to projects. I either create a new project for my client, or if I already have a project going for my client, I click into that project and I go to the Forms tab. I can go here and I can add a form for my client. And I can go ahead and click Add, and I can send. And I can send off to my client like that. I click Send, and I show that that form is sent. And again, you can see that form in my emails area that I sent that form off to my client, showing a little weird because my screen is so magnified right now. So you can see that as sent to your client. Now, if I have my client portals enabled, so here is a client portal area, you can click Activate. What a client portal is, it's a central location for your client to log in and see everything that you've sent them, all the emails you sent them, all the invoices you sent them, forms, contracts. It can all be in the client portal. So let's say, and there are some businesses that have a ton of forms that they need to send to their client. You don't want to send all these one by one to the client or send an email with a whole bunch of button links for the forms. It just looks messy. We can do it in a very clean way. So if you're a business owner that needs to send a whole bunch of forms to clients, I'm going to show you a very quick way that you can do that and not overwhelm yourself or your clients. So first, you can do that by activating your client portal. And let me just show you what the client view of it is. I'm not sure if I have my client portal customized right now because this is just my sample brand. I guess I need to figure that out. All right, so I am logging in as the client just to show you what it looks like for the client. You could see I sent a form already. That's that one form that we sent. I could see the projects that we have with them. I can see emails that I've sent back and forth. And then your clients can also change some information if they want to. Now, you can see how empty it looks. Let's say I'm wanting to send my client a whole bunch of forms. What I do is I hover over the form that I want to send that says need sending, and I click Apply to Portal. Next one, apply to portal. So I want to do all of these. I think my computer's catching up. So I want to apply all of these forms. And as you can see, they're now marked as sent. So all of my forms are marked as sent except my internal use ones, which is great. That's what we want. So let's go to my client portal. And you can see that now I have all those forms for my client to fill out. So here's the incomplete forms that they need to fill out. I can see it also here on a project view level. So there's a few forms that are already completed because those are the welcome packets. Nothing needs to be done on those. But you can see all these forms. So now as a business owner, I can just go ahead and I can just send them their client portal. And I say, hey, I just added about 5 forms in there. Please go in, review them all. Let me know if you have any questions, instead of sending 5 button links to my client. So you can do, yes, you can go through and manually click apply to portal for every single form. Or if you have workflows set up, which automatically carry out actions for you, there is an option on the workflow to have a form automatically apply to a portal. So let's say after a client fills out a lead capture form, you want 5 questionnaires dumped into their client portal. You can set up your Dubsado workflow to have it dump 5 questionnaires in your client portal all at once as soon as the lead capture form is completed. So you can either do it manually by doing what I just did right here, or by doing it through a workflow. Yes, workflows can do that all, Jeff. And we have a separate webinar on that. I could just keep going down these little rabbit holes and go down to workflows, and I bet, yes, there is a webinar on that. Okay. What if you just want clients to see the forms but not the emails in the portal? There's not a way to customize what the portal looks like right now for, like, besides just customizing. You can customize what this is up here. I know mine's not very pretty looking right now because I didn't do any customizing on it. But you can customize the text, the header, but you cannot customize if they see emails or not. So you can, not yet. All right, so back to questionnaires. I want to cover another big thing before I answer some more questions, and that is another really neat ability that the questionnaires have. So let's go to templates and forms again. So I'm back in my templates area where we create the base templates that can be used again and again. If you have a PDF outside of Dubsado that you want to get into Dubsado, you can upload PDFs as your forms. So let's go to, let's see, I'm going to click this little arrow right here, and this allows me to add a PDF into my questionnaire area. So I'm going to find a PDF for you. Let's use the one, let's use our handout. I think that's a good option. So let's say I'm working with Chris in a project, and I want to send her this webinar handout that I have. So I add this as a questionnaire to my questionnaire area. So let's go to projects, and I want to send this to Chris and anyone else who contacts me. And it's just a PDF that I uploaded. So I'm going to go to project, forms, and let's pretend this is a project with Chris. There we go. How to build and use questionnaires in Dubsado. And it literally just sends as a PDF. So when Chris opens this, she's going to open it as a PDF. But the neat thing about it is I can upload this into Dubsado, and I don't have to worry about finding files in my computer all the time, because I know that my PDFs that need to be easily accessible and sent to my clients are just in Dubsado. Which for me, I know I have a ton of things in my download folders on my desktop. So having the ability to just have all the important things that I need in Dubsado would be a lifesaver. Is a lifesaver. All right, so I can send that to Chris if I want to. Again, my screen is showing very weird because I am zoomed in like 120%, so y'all can see. Perfect. All right, so that just covered the ability to send and upload PDFs as a questionnaire, and you can use them again and again and again. All right, so are there any questions about how these questionnaires are used in Dubsado, creative uses, how's something you'd like to see done with the questionnaire. If we could try to limit the questions just to questionnaires, as I know there are many questions that you guys might have, but I just want to try to stay focused so that we can stay on track with just questionnaires. Are there any limitations with the file upload feature? Very good question. So we are talking about, let me go in and add a file upload feature so that you guys know what I'm talking about. On questionnaires, you can add a file upload feature, which allows your clients, this file upload is not for you, it's for your clients to upload files for you. It allows your clients to upload files. There is no limitation to how many files that your clients can put in here. However, each file by itself needs to stay under 5 megabytes. So as long as each file itself stays under 5 megabytes, they can upload as many as they want. All right. Great question. Can we use questionnaires for back and forth input between us and the clients? So it sounds like you're almost wanting to use it as a collaboration document. What I suggest, you can totally do that. What I suggest is laying out clearly. Let me try to go into one really fast. Let's just use my internal one. Is just laying out clearly for, like this one is for client. And so my clients know to answer these questions. And then your questions are labeled business owner or whatever your name or like whatever you want to put there. So I'm going to show you what this looks like in just a sec. But it definitely can happen because questionnaires have the ability to save as draft. And so you'll be able to work like that if needed. So this is the collab. Show you this really quickly. Let's go to Sally samples. Or Sally examples, sorry. Let's see. Collab. So let's say now I want to send this form to my client that we can collab on. I can send it off to them. And then for me, I can copy the link and I can open it in a different tab. And I can fill out items that the business owner needs to fill out. And then when my client's ready to come to it, they'll see the stuff that I have filled out and they can fill out their stuff. So yes, you can totally do that and click send to if you want to. All right. Yes. Good question. Is there a way to organize the forms within questionnaires like in folders? We are currently doing a form overhaul massively. So our form builder is getting a makeover, which will allow you to build faster, which will allow you to build better forms. So I'm really excited about that. I wish I could have done this webinar when it was done, but it's not going to be done for the next couple months. And I just couldn't wait. I needed to show you guys how to use questionnaires so you can get them implemented right now. But then after that, we're going to be going into this templates page right here, and we're going to be organizing this so that you can create your own folder. So it doesn't just have to be questionnaires, proposals, this, you can create your own little folder. So that will be coming in the future. All right. Let me show you a quick tip. I'm not sure if anyone asked this question, but I know it's a question that we get a lot. When you are in a Dubsado form and you are uploading photos, you will see a little library of photos of things that you've uploaded. At this time, you cannot organize these into folders, but that will be changing in the future. This can get a little overwhelming if you're uploading a lot of images. I know it was just overwhelming for me and I cleared it out for this webinar so it looked nice and clean. But I just want to have you rest assured, you can delete all of these images on here and it will not delete from your forms. If it is already added to your form, it will not erase. As you can see, I removed all of my images. Technically, I have no images in my library, but as you can see, it's still showing on the form. So you can definitely clean that up a little bit. Again, this is just the image element. And those are the images. I just deleted them all. They're all gone, but they're still on the forms that they're added to. In the same breath, on the templates page, let's go back. You can delete all of these templates. However, if they're already added to a project, so that Sally examples project that I have, if I delete the client onboarding form, but I already have it added to my Sally examples project, deleting it from the templates area will not delete it out of my project. And the reason being is that as soon as you apply a questionnaire to a project, it basically copies the template and creates its own form for that client. So you can do further customizing even, and it won't mess up the template. So let's go into the project. So I can do further customizations to my wedding timeline right here on this project, and it won't mess up my templates in the template area, because when a form is added to a project, it will not change. It creates a copy and it will not change the template. So you can customize all you want once you add it to a project, and it won't mess up the template. Just a nice thing that people don't usually know, but it's super helpful, especially if you're wanting to add additional customizations per the client. A lot of people think they need to go in and they need to create a new template form. And sometimes I go into people's accounts and they're needing help on something and they have a ton of templates and they're different templates for every single client. You don't need that. You just need your core templates. And then once it's applied to a project, you can do further customizations. So just want to confirm, I'm reading a question. We can remove templates from our library and it won't remove old files that were associated with projects, correct? If you remove a template from your template area, it will not take it out of a project. Forms will only be removed from projects if you go into a project and click remove on that form. Okay, on the flip side, if you update your template in the template area, so this page that I'm on here, it won't update the template in the project area. That is correct as well. Because why that happens is that as soon as a form is added to a project, it creates its own copy. It becomes its own form separate from the templates area. It was like the template said, here, I'm going to help you out, but peace, you can go do your own thing now. So that's what it's doing. But yes, so if you make edits to your template area, it will not edit it on the project. All right. Perfect. Are there any more questions about templates and questionnaires? These are great questions that have been asked. We're clarifying some big things here and some really big concepts that not a lot of people know, especially the deleting of images and the things going out here. Oh, another tip that I want to show y'all. So let's say I accidentally, and this happens to me all the time, as I'm creating a form, let's say I created a lead capture form, I'm like, oh, shoot, like this is not a lead capture form. I want it to be a questionnaire instead. You don't have to create the whole form. You can literally just click and drag it to the form area. So now this form is now a questionnaire. So on the templates page, you can click and drag forms between there. If you accidentally create it in the wrong place, no stress, just click and drag it to the appropriate column that you want to. Yes, and that has saved me so much time. When we first started Dubsado, I used to enter in, like Chris said, you can do the send us up to 10 forms for free. I used to do those, and it was a really fun way for me to get to know the clients. And it was before we had the transferring of templates between things. Do you know how many times I created like a questionnaire and then I got to the middle of it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a contract. And I'd have to redo it all. So that feature was made for my peace of mind, which is now your peace of mind. All right, can we use a form to bring in PDF files for a client? I have reports that are generated for my clients on other websites, and I want that information in their project. Can I create a form for myself and then upload the file into the project? This is a great idea. So it sounds like you're wanting to use this form as a file hub for yourself. It sounds like. So you can either have it for yourself or for your clients, but I just want to be very clear so that you know how to use this. So that is using our file uploader. Let me just create a new questionnaire. Okay, so this will be called our file uploading form. And you can make it, it's not going to look nice right now just because I'm not making it fancy here. So let's say I have my file uploader. Now I'm going to click and drag the file uploader element into my form. Now I want to be very clear. This is the template, and I cannot choose files to add to it right here. This is because I'm in the template area, and this file uploader is only for a client view. So I'm going to save this as a template and show you what I'm talking about. All right, so here's my very, very basic form. I'm going to go into a project. Let's go to Sally Examples, go to my forms, and what did I call it? File uploader. Okay, file uploading form. I'm going to add it. Now I'm going to open it. If this is just for me and my internal stuff, I'm going to click open. And there you go. Yes, it's literally the same thing as we did to the notes, but yes, you can also upload PDFs to this area. So just the key here is make sure you open it in a new tab and not do it in that preview view. It will not work. As you can see, I cannot click, but if you open it in a new tab, you're golden. Great, 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 great. Okay, sorry if I'm missing some. The chat is moving around. So can you use questionnaires in a safe way to have clients share their account password info with you? Great question. So Dubsado's questionnaires are stored on an encrypted and secure server. However, if this link, see this link up here, if I sent this link to Chris or my colleague Biz, or if I sent it to someone, they would be able to see it. It is not, our forms are not meant to store password information just because they're not set up for that. I've seen people store their password information, but it is not rated to store passwords. I still recommend something like LastPass, so you can still work with stuff like that and share it like that on your client, but Dubsado's forms are not meant to store passwords. Yeah, so you'd have to do the manual open thing to be able to upload. Yes, and that is because the file uploader is only for clients to upload files, but you can hack around that by uploading it, by viewing the form as the client. That's only if you want to upload files. Once a client uploads a file, does it show up only in their portal? So once a client uploads a file to this form that you have, your file uploading form, you can access those files by viewing this form. So let me just go ahead and show you what that looks like. It's a great question. So as a client, la-di-da, I'm going in here, I'm uploading the worksheet that we have today. Let's send that. Let's go back into the project. I'm going to apply it to the portal. And let's go into the client portal. And you can see as the business owner, I can click view and I can download the documents here after they've already uploaded it. And as a client, as your client, if I wanted to view the documents that I've uploaded I can do that in the client portal. So let's say you're uploading documents for your clients. Let's go into the project, file uploading form, and they could see the documents that you've uploaded here and download them. I think it's so weird that everyone's name is Christine. Like, what's happening? Chris, you're quite popular today. Okay, I have a lot of clients that use Pinterest/Houzz to show me ideas. What's the best way to retrieve info with just a questionnaire, just a text box that they can paste a link, other ideas? Great question, Kat. Yes, I would say just use a text box to gather the links for that. If there's pictures or mood boards that you want them to send you, a file uploader is a great option for that, Kat. So I would say just figure out if you're needing URLs, an input field is great for that. And if you're needing pictures, then do the file uploader. If I accidentally delete a form template, can I undo? There is not a way to undo that. Just because for security reasons, we want people to know. And truthfully, when your forms and when things are deleted, they are removed. But there is a prompt that lets you know that you're doing it before it's doing it. But for security reasons, we have to delete the form when you request it to be deleted. Just saying that we don't store that. All right. Any more questions about questionnaires? Will you create a Google Doc integration at some point? I work with students that have set up a Google Drive for each of them, so I would love to see it in Dubsado. We don't have a Google Doc integration planned at the moment, but I know there have been talks about creating our own collaboration doc integration, which probably won't work for you specifically in this case, but for other reasons. But we don't have plans at the moment for a Google Doc integration. However, I will say, if you are needing to share links, excuse me, if you are needing to share links with your clients, this is a little bit outside Questionnaire, so I'm sorry for the little tangent. Let's say you have a link to a Google Doc that you want stored in your Dubsado account. You can go to Forms and Add New Form. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can create a one-time link. So if you click that, you can put the link into, let's pretend this says Google Doc. I'm just going to add Dubsado's URL because I don't want to go grab a Google Doc. And I click Add. So what this does, and I apply it to the portal, it keeps a copy in my Dubsado account of this link, and it also sends this link to the portal. So if this was a Google Doc, I would be able to view this as a client. So you can do that. So yeah, if I logged into the client portal as a client, I would be able to see this document that we're sharing. No, the client doesn't see it once. It's literally housed in their client portal. Let me see really fast. So yeah, as a client, so this is the Google Doc that I'm sharing back and forth between us. As a client, I can click it and it opens up the Google Doc, which I linked to Dubsado's homepage. It would be a Google Doc if I link that. But yes, the client is able to click that as many times as you want. You have a collaborative document both of you are working on that's outside of Dubsado. Just add the URL, the one-time link. All right. Can you guys hear me? All right. It's saying that my stream is going weird. All right, let's see. Can questionnaires be printed? Yes, questionnaires can be printed. However, formatting might be a little bit different because our questionnaires are built for web and mobile use. So when they're printed, it might be formatted just a little bit different, but they're welcome to download. This is the client view. They're welcome to click download PDF, and it will prompt them with, it will download it right to their downloads folder, or they can just right click and click print. It doesn't show you it because I'm not sharing my whole screen, but they're able to print it as well. So they can either download the PDF there, or they can right-click print. Jeff said, should I use questionnaires on prospects that have already been qualified, or add them and then qualify them with a questionnaire? So Jeff, that is entirely up to you and your process. I know for some people, there are two types of people when they're gathering leads. There are people that like to have the lead capture form gather a ton of information and qualify them just on that lead capture form before it creates a project. And then there's the other type of people that like to just have the lead capture have a first name, last name, and email. It gets added into Dubsado, and then they send out a qualifying questionnaire to see if they're a good fit after. There's no right or wrong way. It's just about how you want to do your process. If you want your lead capture form to be short, I like say go with a questionnaire and go after. If you want your lead capture form to be long, it just depends on your process. But if you do need additional questions asked or additional qualifying things, that's what a questionnaire is perfect for. But questionnaires, again, can only be used after a project is. Yeah, so sometimes there's both lengthy lead capture and then an additional questionnaire. So either, nothing is wrong. It's just how your process works. And that's the beauty of Dubsado. You can create it and work around it however you'd want to based on your process. So Dubsado will be there to help with that. You guys guessing each other professions. I love it. All right. Are there any more questions about questionnaires? I am happy to help. I do hope that this webinar provided some useful tips for you, some things that you're going to go in and implement. If you don't have a testimonial form, which I saw a lot of you were like, aha, testimonials, get those testimonials. Like, it's a little nerve-wracking to ask clients to review you, but also when you get those good ones, it feels really good. And being able to add social proof, especially, I just got off a webinar and we made over forms. And one of the forms that I made over was a proposal form. And I said that there are 3 things always needed for a proposal form. It's a little bit of about you, testimonials, and your next steps and what it's going to look like. But a big thing and a big mistake that I always see happening on Dubsado like proposal forms is just the lack of testimonials. Gathering testimonials from your clients is a great way to just add further social proof so that you can get more clients in the future, because it's great for prospective clients to see, this person experienced this with this business owner. So it's really, really great. Is there a way to keep your questionnaires private after the client has filled them out and submitted them? Okay, so if you're meaning by private, you still want the client to see them. Is that correct? Let me know before I answer. But if you mean private as you don't want anybody else seeing them in terms of like just other people having access to that link, there is a way to set up a password protection on a form. Oh, okay, so I'm in a competitive market. I've had a client threaten me to send fake clients to me to see my business info. Oh, that sucks. Well, this might not be exactly what you're looking for, especially if you don't want the client to be able to see additional information. Let's say in this case, if your client threatened you and you decided to cut ties with that client, by deleting the forms, you can download a PDF so that you have a copy of it. But by deleting the forms, the client won't be able to see it if that's what you're wanting to do. So you can just cut them off altogether, but you can download a copy of it. If you just, for peace of mind for your client, and you still want your client to have access to this, you can enable a password protection on your forms. It's on the, yeah. So in the form, I'm on settings and I set it to private. And what that means is my client, to view this form, will have to log in using their client portal details. But in your case, I think it might be best, if you're not working with that client, to delete the form so that they can't send it to anyone else. If you deactivate the client portal, what happens to the forms in the project? Well, you're right. I think that might be the way around that. So yeah, if you have a password protected on your form, so let's say I have this set up as password protected. Yes, this is a great one. So I have my forms set as password protected, and basically they'd have to log in using the client portal. So I can just, if I want to cut ties, I click deactivate the client portal. This means the client cannot log in using this form. So if I type in Sally Samples to email and password and stuff like that to access it, I cannot access it. So that might be a better option than deleting. No, does archiving a project prevent a client from seeing the forms? No, archiving the project just basically gets it out of your view. If you do not want clients to see forms, let's go with who gave me that? I can't, the chat's moving around, but you can just deactivate the client portal and add a password protection to your forms, and your client will not be able to see it. So if you're not wanting your clients to view the forms after at a certain point, do that. Does that only work if you have them fill out stuff via the portal? If you send them a form back via email, will they be able to go back to that email and recheck to re-see? No. So the client portal is basically just a home for your forms. The little forms can do whatever they want at any time, but they're still always going to be housed in this client portal home. So even if you send a questionnaire through an email and you don't send it through the client portal, as soon as you put that lock on the client portal and that lock on the form, they won't be able to access it no matter how you sent that to them, via an Instagram DM, via email, or via client portal. That form is housed in the client portal. So as when that's shut down, it's shut down with it if you have it password protected. So yeah, well, and then even further, let's see, yeah. So I take session notes and then I send a portion to them after each session. Could I make a session notes and then make a step in the workflow to send them the session notes? Yes. So what you can do here is, here's what I recommend. In your workflow, have it add the form to the project first. So have that workflow automatically add the form to the project. Not send it, but add it to the project. Then at a certain point, you can have the workflow send the questionnaire. But it sounds like you don't want it sent first. You need to add it to the project, and then you can have it send the questionnaire later. So Penny, what we're talking about is just in a very extreme case if you want to block your client off from viewing forms. I don't see this happening very often. So I don't want you to think that this is something that you have to do. But if in a very extreme case, you wanted to stop your client from seeing everything that you've done, yes, you would just simply with one click deactivate the portal, but then go in and password protect each of the forms that you have. And that would also deactivate if you've sent it to them via a link, just like through email and stuff. It would also shut those down. But this is an extreme case. This is not something that you need to do all the time. It's just literally if you want to cut your client off from viewing everything that you've sent them. All right. Oh my gosh, we have gone an hour. How do hours go by so fast? All right, guys. Let me know if there's any more last minute questions, and I am here to answer them really quickly. But for now, I think we did it. I think we covered it. But thank you so much for joining in. I'm hope that was helpful. I am about ready to go enjoy some Chick-fil-A sweet tea and their Chick-fil-A wraps. I've had it 2 days in a row, but after a long webinar and lots of talking, that's what sounds good. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to chat into our support team using this little chat bubble at the bottom right here, or you can email us hello@dubsado.com. Do not forget that if you have forms that need to be inputted into Dubsado, you can email them to us, forms@dubsado.com, and we have a free service that will input up to 10 forms for you for free. So if you have forms that are outside Dubsado, maybe in another client management system, maybe in Google Docs, maybe in whatever, you can send them to us and we can input it in for you. And yes, welcome to all the Christines that were here today. Great to have you all with us. But you guys, thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, and I hope to talk to you all soon. And bye. See ya. Thanks.